Glamour.
Yes, call. What did this man say? Nay. The nay service.
For almost 4 years, 360 honorable members and 109 distinguished senators have gone through this entrance to serve the Nigerian people. With over 3,000 bills processed through these chambers, thousands of hours of plenary sessions, hundreds of hours of research, consulting, debates, lobbying, and documentation, what outcomes convince Nigerians that members of the 9th National Assembly have served their interests? How well have they served? Or have you been served? A culture shock is set to hit Nigeria's polity, and it begins with the parliament, where elected representatives can no longer hide from the spotlight of performance, whether good or bad.
Other people and Afric Mill that I coordinate have been partners over the years. We've worked on different projects together. So we're excited to be part of this, which is the outcome of long-term collaboration between both organizations. But more importantly, because of what we think this project means for our democracy, for development of the country, lawmakers hold an important position or occupy an important place in the scheme of things. They are very key, paramount to the success of our democracy. So if we have an organization like other people in partnership with civil society, other civil society organizations putting this together, I think it's a welcome development. We're excited to be part of this. We encourage more organizations to join the process so that it's bigger, much bigger than what it is currently.
Order Paper Nigeria and its partners have been working all through this period to help provide answers that are incontrovertible and hinge solely on data. This is the journey of Nigeria's first ever most valuable parliamentarian Hall of Fame.
We report the parliament and archive its activities, follow through, virtually everything that goes on in the National Assembly. Whatever we need to also do to iterate the delivery of that service, which is a public function, it's a public good, driven essentially by altruistic motives. We do not shy away from it. So the MVP Hall of Fame is one of such inspiration. How do we, in the midst of all the negativity around the National Assembly, also tell the story that there is set, however small, however, infinitesimal, that there is a set of lawmakers who are able and demonstrably able to deliver, services to citizens and to the country.
On the 11th of June 2019, the 9th Assembly was inaugurated to carry out the mandate and core functions of lawmaking, oversight and representation on behalf of the Nigerian people. As the first year of the Assembly's tenure ended, Order Paper released its Year 1 annual performance appraisals of the 9th National Assembly. The VVIP metrics were developed for appraising the performance of legislators and the legislature on bills processing. Following an in-depth analysis of the bills sponsored, individual performance scorecards were disseminated to the public.
So the annual appraisals of the National Assembly, first of all, it entails looking at the bills sponsored by the 469 lawmakers in an assembly. So we started out in the 9th Assembly. So the first year of the 9th Assembly, we collated data, which is the bills sponsored by the lawmakers in the first year. And these bills were now further broken down into the level of progression. So besides just the volume of bills from each lawmaker, we also looked at the fact that, okay, these bills, have they progressed beyond the first reading stage, second reading stage, have they been passed, have they gotten presidential assent? So most often we collate this data from the National Assembly. You know how difficult it can be in getting data to do such appraisals, especially with the legislature that we have in Nigeria. But then we're able to have ways in which we collect these bills annually. Like I said, we've done for the first year, we did for the second year, which was the midterm annual reports, and we also did it for the third session of the Ninth Assembly. So based on these bills that have been sponsored through this period of time, that's beginning from June 2019 up to date, we're able to collect these data and then bring out the appraisals. The appraisals, we use the matrix which we call the VVIP matrix in analyzing this data. So the VVIP matrix basically entails volume of these bills. Like I said, each lawmaker, how many bills have they sponsored, the value of these bills. So beyond just volume, we also look at the fact that these bills need to be tangible to affect the lives of Nigerians. And then we look at the impact of these bills. How have these bills been of any impact to both the country and Nigerians as a whole? And then we look at the productivity, which is the progression of that bill. So how well has this bill moved along the stages of the bill making? Did the lawmaker just sponsor this bill and leave it at first reading? Has it progressed? How well has it progressed? Has it gotten presidential assent? So those are the type of things we look at when we look at the National Assembly annual appraisals. That's what basically it entails.
As the second year of the Ninth Assembly ended, the midterm report cards were released in July 2021. This commenced the processes for the most valuable Parliamentarian MVP Hall of Fame. The first step to the MVPs followed the release of the midterm scorecards, where 55 out of the 469 parliamentarians were selected based on 8 performance categories. 1. Top performer on bill sponsorship for newbies. 2. Top performer on bill sponsorship for geopolitical zones. 3. Top performer on bill sponsorship for young legislators. 4. Top performer on bill sponsorship by volume. 5. Top lawmakers on the bill's productivity index. 6. Impact of the bill's cross-cutting integrational. 7. Most influential opposition parliamentarian. 8. Top performing ex-governors. The 55 nominees selected based on the performance in these categories were recognized at an Evening of Sparkles event held on the 14th of July 2022 at Transcorp Abuja.
I want to say thank you for this recognition. Look forward to working harder for my people.
The race grew tighter as the Year 3 appraisals were unveiled for the first time at the National Assembly House of Representatives Complex Meeting Room 36. The release of the Year 3 appraisals on the 30th of November 2022 has continued to generate widespread national and global attention and reaction.
Your role is very key and is very important. It's just like the anti-corruption agency, ICPC, that also monitor these projects and they do reports on them. So I see your role as being very complementary to them and very, 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 very important.
You are doing very well. And fundamentally, your work is educating quite a number of Nigerians. And even legislators themselves who do not know that something like this exists, now they know. So I want to encourage you to keep up with the spirit. Demonstrate that act of maturity and intelligence and see yourself as information wizard that will give correct, positive information to Nigerians and to our constituents as at when due.
Just like the names implied, you have been orderly, you have been thorough. Nobody can question the fact of your assessment, how you have brought it out. And again, despite the criticism, if not for the analysis or research of other people, they couldn't have put some of us on our toes.
I think that for you to look at 360 and you're able to pick, even if it's 100 that means you're doing very well. Because ordinarily it's very difficult if you're not on the floor every other day. That means you won't even know where to start. So I congratulate other people for doing a good job, and it's going to spur a lot of my colleagues to work hard.
Like I said, I've worked with other people extensively. So the reportage warms my heart. Try to make sure that people understand what's going on. And try to also make parliamentarians to put them on their feet, on their toes, so that you know that somebody is watching.
I must commend you for boldly standing your ground to publish that. Whether you like it or not, there must be a memory that is documented for people who are coming on board to embrace, to see how others have fared and see how they can better the position that they met.
And so, as the 9th Assembly tenure draws to a close, the criteria for qualification for induction into the first ever MVP Hall of Fame also grew more competitive. From a list of 55, 25 semi-finalists emerged at the third stage based on 3 key performance metrics captured on the newbies: productivity, value, and impact categories. Now, from these 25 shortlisted semi-finalists, the list has been presented for guidance by the panel of experts MPEs who have provided the requisite oversight on the steps taken by Order Paper so far, critically presiding over the list of 25 to retain the novelty, nobleness, and competitiveness of the MVP Hall of Fame.
Well, one of the good things about Order Paper is their capacity to identify good resource people who have the requisite experience in legislative work. I've been in the National Assembly for almost 15 years, first as the project coordinator, the Policy Analysis and Research Project, PAP, which became the National Institute for Legislative Studies by Act of the National Assembly. So I've built quite a long history of work in the National Assembly relating with legislators, management staff, capacity building work. So it's because of that, I think that Order Paper thought I was a good resource person. And since then, I've been working behind the scenes with them, giving expert advice on 1 or 2 issues, and also presenting papers where necessary during some of their programs. And this particular MVP program, the Hall of Fame, has been in the front banner for quite some time. And even during some of the public presentations that Order Paper made or conducted, most of its work has the MVP project at the background, and it kept on filtering. And I've been working with Order Paper behind the scene on this particular project for quite some time.
A journey which began on the 11th of June 2019 comes to a grand unveiling of the induction of the first most valuable Parliamentarian Hall of Fame at a Night of Glamour on the 21st of May 2023. Who will emerge?